brainwashing needs a little bit of work. Sorry. Hey, how's it going?
Welcome back. I'm JD, and this Reviews Tuesday. 2. This week I have Kick-Ass. This is Volume 2, Issue 1. I have Port of Earth by Top Cow and our good friend Zach Kaplan. Number 4. Dark Knights Rising, The Wild Hunt, number 1.
Go fuck yourself.
And Thrawn, number 1.
If I'd have known that Dark Knights Rising was coming out, I would have got it.
I think sold out quick.
Yeah, damn it. I'm going to have to wait for a second or third printing. No shiny metallic cover for me. But I've got a whole fistful of Marvel for you this week. We're looking at X-Men Red number 1. This publication is probably about 2 weeks old, 2.5 weeks old. It's pretty good. I've got the Despicable Deadpool 294. I've got The Punisher 221, which is the, I believe, third or fourth installment to the War Machine story arc. Punisher Platoon, and I also have Thrawn, so I guess we're doing a joint review.
All right. I guess I'll kick it off with Kick-Ass. This is Volume 2, Issue 1. Now, I didn't read the full thing. I did thumb through it, and I can tell you this is new characters taking on the mantles of Kick-Ass and Hit Girl. Allegedly. We don't know in Hit Girl yet. She's getting her own new run. But it does look very interesting. It looks well put together, and once again, it's by Mark Miller, so it's going to be a good continuation because it's by the same guy who did the first one. So, hey, awesome there. But I'm going to give it a tentative 4 capes. It does look great. The art is wonderful. John Romita Jr., just like in the original. And like I said, everything does look very well put together.
Okay. You can tell it's something that John Romita enjoys doing.
Yes.
Okay.
Port of Earth, number 4. This is Zach Kaplan, who wrote Eclipse, which I absolutely loved. And when I find out, he's got a new title coming out, well, Jesus, I just have to have it. And it's an amazing story. And for those of you who don't know what's going on or hadn't kept up with it, essentially we have been contacted by aliens who pretty much want to use our planet as a gas station.
Oh, nice.
But
they're setting up pumps and, like, hey,
yeah,
we want full service gas stations here. That's all we want. We're not looking to, enslave humanity or anything.
So they say. But there's a lot of, there's certain rules. Aliens are not allowed to leave the port, but they do, but they face no repercussions. And the agency that is there to make sure all the rules are followed, they cannot use lethal force. They're there to protect humans and the aliens. So if an alien breaks the rules, they have to protect them just as much as they're protecting all the humans. So everything is really kind of screwed up.
I'm curious to read that and see if there's any correlation to early trade with the Americans, the East India Company and shit like that. It'd be an interesting. I would be interested to see if they go that route, because the East India Company in the early stages of American colonization were the biggest trade company in the world. And there was a lot of stuff going through there that probably shouldn't have been. I mean, they didn't just do legal trade. I mean, with anything else, it was illicit. So that's something to be curious about.
But this is a great title. I'm loving it. Top Cow, top rated publisher, and they maintain that rating. 5 capes on this one. Dark Knights Rising, The Wild Hunt. There's an obscure character that's at the very forefront of this story, and that is Detective Chimp.
Detective Chimp.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, he is at the forefront of this storyline. I will say, of all the Dark Knight Rising books, this is the hardest to keep straight because it is jumping from scene to scene, time to time, and everywhere in between. So this is, I actually determined to read this a second time to make sure I get everything out of this, but the art is wonderful, and to see DC's history, where he came from, how he became Detective Chimp, is amazing, including the origins of his hat.
Oh, okay.
It's absolutely lovely. I really did enjoy this book, so definitely 5 capes on that one.
Very nice.
And I will save Thrawn until you're there.
All right. I've got Punisher: The Platoon number 5. I've actually got 2 Punisher books, as I've already stated. This is a really interesting look into Frank Castle's past as far as the 616 like classic Punisher. This goes back to Frank Castle being in Vietnam, and it is basically chronicling the recounts of his platoon members that have survived under his command as an LT. And this is really awesome. You get both sides of the story. You get Frank Castle trying to lead this platoon through Vietnam, and you actually do get the North Vietnamese side with the main character as well. And she is just hell-bent on killing American soldiers because of her family's death. It's really, really awesome. Basically, it takes place in the modern era where you have a man who's trying to write a book about Frank Castle, and he's interviewing his old platoon leaders, and they're basically telling him stories about being out in the jungle. And you even get recounts of a military leader from the North Vietnamese side. And it's just amazing. You see a side of Frank Castle that, him coming fresh into being a LT, like at a fire base. And it's pretty amazing, man. I'm enjoying the hell out of this. This delves further into Frank Castle and who he was to other people.
And that's Garth Ennis, right?
Yes. This is Garth
Amazing
Ennis,
writer.
and you can't go wrong with Ennis. I mean,
No.
I will say the man has too many irons at the fire sometimes, but he always makes a good product.
Yeah.
So, I mean, fuck, the guy knows how to multitask. But I'm giving that 5 freaking chimichangas all the way. I'm loving the story. I'm going to keep reading it, and I hope it never falls off. The other Punisher book I have is Punisher 221, which I believe is the 3rd installment or 4th installment to the Punisher War Machine story arc. Nick Fury, because in this book particularly, Frank Castle, tells the Nick Fury that is pretty much given him authorization to steal the War Machine armor from the U.S. government and go on a manhunt for other armored individuals. But Frank Castle actually states in the book, or refers to the Nick Fury that is telling him to do this stuff as "you Furies always want to do this." So there are multiple Nick Furies. The Nick Fury you're presented with in this book is the Samuel L. Nick Fury to some extent.
Ultimate Universe.
Well, I don't know if it's the Ultimate Universe because they did bring that character over into the 616. He was a reformed Hydra agent that was just referred to as Fury after becoming a part of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Gotcha.
So, I don't know which one he's dealing with, but they've given him authorization to go and steal the War Machine armor from the U.S. government and use it to go and hunt down other individuals that have Stark Tech.
Oh, wow.
Really interesting story. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. And Frank Castle in Punisher armor, War Machine armor, done up with like a Punisher skull. That's fucking cool.
That is cool.
That's almost as awesome as like Frank Castle possessed by the Venom symbiote.
Yes.
It's pretty awesome. Given that one 5 chimichangas, I still want to read more. The Despicable Deadpool 294. This is Wade Wilson facing off against, I believe it is, who is that? That is not Slapstick.
No.
I lost my train of thought there.
I don't know who that is.
That's
a new
This
one.
Madcap.
Madcap.
Sorry, I had a Gary Oldman moment. Anyway, it's Wade Wilson versus Madcap yet again. This is not... Madcap was one of the personas that Wade Wilson used to talk to.
Huh.
Inside of his head. So that was early on in the Deadpool ongoing series. You had 2 or 3 different personalities that Deadpool was actually having conversations with, and Madcap was one of them. Well, Madcap is seeking revenge against Deadpool, and the Collector gets involved somehow, and things go in a completely different route than Deadpool thought he wanted them to go. So anyway, Really interesting book. I love the Despicable Deadpool. I love the angle they're taking with this book, where he has become more of the mercenary we kind of grew to love and know back in the past. And it still does have hints of his family life that he has to deal with, his friends, but he pretty much is showing his true colors. You know, he's going to do whatever he has to do to get what he needs or wants out of life. And chief being mercenary. And when you're tasked to kill people to save the lives of others, Deadpool really rides that thin line.
Yeah.
And this is a great book. Previous stories involved him trying to kill Cable. So if you haven't picked this up, I highly recommend it. 5 chimichangas all the way. Matter of fact, I don't really have a bad review of this one, so I'm just going to tell you straight off. These are all top rated for me. I have X-Men Red #1. And this guy is actually the very first appearance of Jean Grey in the modern X-Men universe.
Oh, wow.
Jean Grey has come back from the dead, or whatever deal she had the Phoenix imprisoning her in.
Yeah.
And this is the first issue you see her actually interacting with other members of the X-Men on the basis that she's part of the team. And this is a really good book. It's really cool to see that character back. The sad part of it is Cyclops is not around. At least not the Cyclops she married, the Cyclops she loved. But I think it's better that way. I think with the both of them, it seemed like the X-Men were just too unified.
Yeah.
And having one or the other, and I think gives the dynamic to the team a bit more diversity and following different characters.
Yeah,
You're
I
not
can see that.
focused on, the two main characters.
Yeah.
The heartthrobs or anything like that. But this is really cool to see her come back. Like I said, yet again, 5 chimichangas. And we are down to our Star Wars Thrawn #1.
I'm interested in what you thought of it.
Well, I'm interested in what you thought of it.
I love this book. This was such a huge character in a lot of
Shadows of the Empire.
Shadows of the Empire, and that was another guy.
Thrawn?
No,
Wasn't
he was.
Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is so refreshing to get biography, how he came to power, and that's what this book is giving us.
And it shows how cool and collected he is. And
Oh, yeah.
What he carries over from his race in dealing with the Empire, the Emperor himself.
Yeah.
Having to deal with Palpatine, and basically he comes in, and I would say this is kind of a crazy analogy, but it's almost like you going for the interview for the job we currently have.
Yeah.
And telling our boss, hey, put me wherever, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I can do whatever you want. And that's pretty much how Thrawn is. To what end? We don't know.
Yeah.
But we know that he climbed the ranks of the Imperial forces very quickly, almost immediately.
And we kind of got a hint as to why.
Yeah.
It was intentional and deliberate.
Yeah.
But we kind of found his motivation for doing that. And it's not what I expected.
His people.
Yeah.
So this is something to check out if you're a Star Wars fan. Even if you're not a Star Wars fan, it's a very interesting character to look at. I'll be honest, I've never really delved too much into the history of Thrawn, but this is fucking amazing.
It is. The art is on point. The story flows perfectly. There's a lot of twists and turns, which I love in a story. And
how often do you pick up a Star Wars comic book made by Marvel now and are disappointed with it?
I gotta be honest, I don't pick up very many of them.
But the ones you pick up
I
are
love.
pleasing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Other ones that we've done in the past, as far as reviews, you might want to check out C-3PO #1, which is just a one-shot. That was
such
amazing.
a great book.
It explains the red arm that he has in Episode 7. It's really, really cool. I was a little disappointed with 8 because they took it away.
Yeah.
But either way, definite good story. I haven't been disappointed with any of these publications yet.
No, Anakin and Obi-Wan, that was a great miniseries. Awesome. It delved into more of their relationship than we got in the prequels, and how close those two really were.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's hard to find a modern Star Wars book from Marvel that's disappointing.
Yeah.
It's very hard to find one.
Cassian and K2SO, that was awesome too.
I didn't read that. I didn't grab that one, I don't think.
Well, you could hear the snarkiness from K2SO in the book, and it was great. I love that Alan Tudyk snarkiness of the character.
Greatly portrayed in the film.
Yeah.
But that does it for our reviews. Be sure to check in with us on Sunday. We'll have a new episode with a new topic. Hopefully, I'll remember it before we start the show.
Because he'll forget it somewhere.
I'm sure I will.
Yeah.
You witnessed it this past Sunday. But we are brought to you by Captain Jack's Elixirs, 322 East Texas Avenue, Baytown, Texas, 77520. You can go to their website, www.captainjackselixirs.com, or you can get to them through our website, thenerdery.net. Go up to the top of the screen, hit that little tab that says Nerd Fog, and give you a link directly to their website where you can buy the Nerdery official juice.
Yes,
Captain Jack's.
I actually picked up a bottle of their Eddie Van Hazen Reserve today, as well as a Nerdery flavor called Just Sayin', which is an orange dreamsicle. Now, the Eddie Van Hazen is a vanilla hazelnut with a hint of bourbon, and it is delicious.
For the reserve.
Oh, yes, for the reserve. Otherwise, it's just the vanilla hazelnut.
Yeah, which is what I get.
Yeah.
Got a big bottle over there. That's low.
Sounds like you need to go buy Caddies.
I do. But thank you so much for watching, and be sure to tune in on Sunday.